How long should a presentation be? Good question. There are several answers to that, but let's take a webinar or a masterclass as an example, all right? Usually, the right type of webinars these days do not take longer than about 40 minutes. I'm from a time where webinars were endless, which means that you started a webinar and it, it was scheduled for 2 hours and it took about 4.5 or something like that. Oh God, I've had that. But that, I find that kind of, how do you say that? Disrespectful towards your audience, because you're asking for an allocation of their time and you just totally, you want to keep them there. So, and then you take a much and much longer. So that's kind of disrespectful, I think. So I would never do that. I wouldn't do that. I find myself when I am invited for webinars or master classes or workshops, and they take an hour to 90 minutes, I'm already going, oh God, is it really worth it? So I'm very aware of my time, and you should too. Not only of your time, but definitely of your time, but also the time of your audience. So whenever you are giving a presentation, make sure that it stays within the time frame that you have announced. If you've announced an hour, stay within that hour. The last thing that I heard was the optimal number of minutes was 40, which means you start with the introduction, coming in and make sure that everything is gone and this is what we're going to do. You are here if you are not like this, then you should leave because you are not my audience. Make sure that your laptop is closed, the windows and your phone is off, and let's start. 10 minutes in the beginning, then your piece of content, 30 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes for the pitch. Do not make that pitch endless, please. I've had those webinars. Those are horrible, totally out of context. 30 minutes of teaching and 1.5 hours of sales pitch. That's horrible. So be very respectful of the time of your audience. Stay within the announced time. And the second thing I wanted to say is be respectful. Oh, I already said that, right? Be respectful of their time. The second thing I wanted to say is practice. Because you can write it down, I learned that firsthand. You can write it down and you practice it at home. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, you're within that time frame that you wanted to do. And then all of a sudden you have engagement with the audience while you're giving the presentation, and you ask them, how do you feel about this? Let me know in the chat. And it takes about 10 seconds before you see the answers that they are putting in, right? Which means that with every engagement questions where you ask them to put something in the chat, even if it's yes and no, there's always a little lap of time. So what I mean with practice is not just practice alone, but also practice within your presentation. Make sure that you do your presentation several times live in front of an audience with an engaging audience before you make it your signature presentation or start recording it to put it online or make a product out of it, right? Practice that timing. Because especially the interaction part can totally mess up your time. It happened to me before. It's not fun. It's not fun. I felt really bad about it. But I asked them permission to go 10 minutes longer, and they said yes. So that's how we solve it. Okay, so practice and be respectful of their time. Cool. Next time.